If you told me I'd have four girls fighting over me, resulting in me being captured and forced to kiss them, I'd say you'd lost your mind. But that's exactly what happened. Hi, my name's Taryn. I met Nessa way back in middle school. She sat in front of me in homeroom and I spent a good 5 minutes wishing she'd look back. She was so pretty, and then she did. Hi, I'm Nessa. Do you have an extra pen? Mine seems to have exploded. That's how our friendship started. I never really asked her if she felt the same way, but I had a huge crush on her from day one. Nessa and I spent all our time together from homeroom to dismissal. We even got in trouble and got into detention together. On weekends, I'd visited her place and we'd play games from morning till sundown. Her parents liked me a lot. They even ended up being friends with my parents. So, when Nessa and I finally became seniors, I got scared. We both didn't know whether we'd end up going to the same university, and I wasted all those years never telling her what I really felt about her. I told myself I'd do it during junior prom, but I chickened out. And then when they crowned her prom queen, I felt like she was way out of my league that I never got out the words that I was planning to say to her that night. Well, another year passed and I still didn't have enough courage. But the possibility of never being able to see her after graduation forced me to do it. I had to do it now. So, before the year started, I told myself that I'd ask her to senior prom. I bought a ring. I practiced the exact speech I was going to give her 10 months before I planned on asking her. I prepared everything way in advance, but what I didn't know was that trouble was coming. It was a hurricane in the form of 3 foreign exchange students, Mia, Tali, and Yana. They came in on our first day of classes and instantly became the only thing on people's lips. Who were they? Where'd they come from? And why did they look like full-on, ultra-rich supermodels? Honestly, I didn't care. I was too distracted by the fact that that was the year I was finally going to confess to my best friend and first love. But that lunchtime, a hurricane sat down beside me in the cafeteria. That seat is taken. It is now. Shut your mouth. Mia has something to say. From now on, you sit with us. You will date all 3 of us alternately. I don't think that's how dating works. It is now. What was that about? I have no idea. I had no clue how difficult those 3 were going to make my life over the next few months. They followed me everywhere. At first, I tried to be nice. I told them no. I told them they needed to pick someone else. But I never mentioned that it was because my heart was set on someone else. The girl's simple answer to me was no. No matter how much I tried to convince them otherwise, they weren't willing to let me go. Some nights I would catch them parked outside my house. I even tried to put on a mustache, some huge glasses, and a wig when I went out. But still, they managed to track me down. When both Nessa and my family went on holiday, I saw them watching us through binoculars from the neighboring resort. And when holidays were over, the girls finally managed to corner me. So, that's why you won't date us. What? I don't know what you're talking about. That ugly little simp that follows you everywhere you go. Oh, I thought you meant you 3. You said that out loud. I meant to. Now, can you leave me alone? Funny. Nobody says no to us. And by the time we're through, you'll come crawling, begging to date us. We just have to get rid of an obstacle. Prom was fast approaching, and I knew I had to focus on the one big thing I promised I'd do that year. So, one night, I asked Nessa to go out and see a movie. I put on my nicest clothes, brushed my teeth 3 times, and stuffed the ring I bought for her in my pocket. I rocked up to the cinema in a rented limo and waited for the moment I both dreaded and looked forward to the most. Can't wait to see you. I'll be there in a bit. That was the last message I got from her. I waited outside the cinema until it closed, but she never materialized. I went home deflated. I thought for sure she figured it out and dumped me by not going. Until I woke up the next morning to my dad knocking at my door. What's up? Nessa's parents are here. What? Why? Nessa never got home. They thought she was still with me and wanted to check, but I told them she never even showed up. That was when we all began to feel a little uneasy. We went to the station, but the cops turned us away and said we had to wait at least 48 hours. Where could she have gone? That question was answered not an hour later by a phone call. I was the one who answered it. Marry us. You have 48 hours or your stupid simp gets it. The call was 5 seconds long. I know because I counted how fast my heart went in those 5 seconds. Luckily, I knew exactly where they were. I could hear the very distant sounds of an old, abandoned arcade that Ness and I used to always go to. It was the best place to hang out. For some reason, they just abandoned the place and yet everything still works. We used to always play there. I don't know how or why, but Nessa managed to make them bring her there. She must have known I'd recognize the sounds, and she was right. I rushed out without telling anyone. In hindsight, I should have. But my fight-or-flight instinct kicked in, and my feet moved on their own. I got there just as dark was setting in. I slowly approached the arcade, sticking to the shadows and moving as silently as I could. I saw the 3 girls, and between them, Nessa was tied up to a chair, and they were taking turns slapping her. I wanted to jump out and rescue her, but I knew I had to be smart. I had to wait until they were distracted, so I counted down and waited. But then, clang! I almost jumped out of where I was hiding. The girls turned towards me and I was so scared they caught me, until the cat that made the racket jumped out from behind me. The girls just returned to slapping Nessa. Phew, I was so sure I was done for. But then I had to do a double take. There weren't 3 anymore. One of the girls was gone. Did you think you could sneak up on us? I jumped and dodged and rolled away from Mia. But just as I stood back up, someone greeted me from the back and lifted me up as if I weighed nothing. I looked up and saw a giant of a man in all black, and behind him there was another one who looked exactly like him. That's enough. Good work, Remus and Romulus. Tie him up. Throw the girl in some ditch and meet us at the headquarters. My worst nightmares came true. I wasn't even able to save Nessa, and now they got me too. Before they put a bag over Nessa's head, she yelled, I love you, Taryn. I love you too. So touching. So gross. Say goodbye to your simp. You're ours now. The girls took me to a villa in an uninhabited island in the middle of the ocean. There, they made me dress how they wanted. I refused to eat, but they forced me, and then they kissed me. All 3 of them, all the time. Then, one day, a call came, just when I was about to give up, just when I thought I would never hear from the outside world again. Mia screamed, How is she still alive? Put her on the screen. The projector came up and there she was, my parents and her parents behind her. I was on a video call with them, and they saw how I was tied up in the dungeon. You're like a cat, aren't you? Well, let's see if your 9 lives can do anything about this. Mia kissed me. I closed my lips as tight as I could, but then Yana came too, and then Tolly. They all kissed me to rub it in Nessa's face. I'll find you, I promise. That same night, I heard keys jingling outside my bedroom. I hid under the covers. I grabbed one of the candelabras in case it was the girls again. But when the doors opened, I almost yelped in fear. The twins told me everything. They let Nessa go free. They told me that they used to be the girls' playthings. Until they got bored. And then they chose another guy, and then another. We were in love with them, you know. Now they treat us worse than servants. Nessa, how did you... Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad our plan went without a hitch. Don't worry, I took care of the girls. They're out like a light. What do we do now? There's a boat at the dock. Do either of you know how? Lucky my dad was obsessed with fishing. I'll ferry us out of here. As we left, we bid the boys goodbye, and we thought how great it would be to give the girls a taste of their own medicine. Maybe they should spend the rest of their days being chased by the guys they didn't like. And we owed Remus and Romulus, so we figured if we could get revenge while also giving the boys the girls they loved, why not? So I sank the one remaining boat, and I destroyed the dock as we were leaving. It was just in time for the girls to wake up from their little nap. They screamed in frustration as they saw me leave, and I kissed Nessa, and waved them goodbye.